Welcome to Tea Time. Today we have our guest speaker, who is Nicolas Bernardi, who is French national and has done business in Africa for the last 15 years with a lot of experience. So in both worlds, in Europe and also in Africa. So why Africa? You're living right now in Dakar, in Senegal. What is your parcours till Senegal?
Okay, thank you for inviting me. So I settled in Senegal in 2004. I worked before in France for most of the time, and we set up our family business in Senegal. It's an outsourcing company for French multinationals. And we later also set up a soda factory and a candy factory, but not in Senegal, in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, which is about 2.5 hour flights from Dakar.
And what has been your experience of doing business in Africa?
Well, in fact, I have the experience of the corporate world, both in the Western world and also in Africa, because I was head of Louis Dreyfus commodities business for West Africa during 5 years. So this gave me a good experience of how things can be organized and how to set up businesses in Africa. And then I set up my own businesses in both countries.
For those, Africa now is all the time in the news, in part because Chinese investments in Africa that have been tremendous. So two questions. How do you see the future in Africa? And also, how do you see Chinese investments in the part of Africa that you are operating?
Well, I've been living there for 15 years now, so I'm very optimistic about the growth prospect of Africa. But obviously there is a lot of problems to solve. So it's countries for problem solvers and people who like to take initiatives. And the population is very young, 50% of the population is under 18. 50% of the African population already lives in cities, which are growing very fast, especially on the coasts of West Africa, East Africa, and South Africa. So there is a lot of things to do, a lot of opportunities, and I like the freedom that you can have in these countries, and also the impact that you can have on the society and to bring employment, as there is a lot of young people and they need to have jobs and opportunities, and that's what people with experience like us can bring to them. On the China investment side, in fact, well, there is, many different nationalities in Africa. Obviously, there is African locals who even from neighboring countries, so people tend to move a lot between countries. And at the same time, you have French, you have Italian, German, Spanish, Indians, people from the Middle East, Lebanese, and also Chinese people. So it's very, very diverse population, both on the social healthcare side, like NGOs, or also in the private sector as well. And China companies are mostly involved in construction right now. So they usually do build toll roads, bridges, ports, terminals, and usually they bring their expertise, and also people from China. With the engineers, they usually come also people who are doing restaurants, who are doing small shops, and to also bring this Chinese way of life and goods. And when the construction is finished, usually the other businesses will stay and will for the long term, and these Chinese people become Senegalese, as French like us became Senegalese as well. So it's a big part of the development in Africa now.
And now I turn to Joseph, the student in the MBA program. And you are also interested, you have some experience in Northern Africa, and you are interested more into the Middle East, but also in the northern part of Africa. You have experience in Egypt. So how was your experience in that part of Africa, and what does attract you from that part of the world?
So I'd say probably similar to what you said. It's just the kind of the youngness of the demographic and the excitement, kind of the energy level that comes with having just a lot of people at such a young age, and then just the level of entrepreneurship going on. I found it fascinating.
So where would you like to work after the MBA, medium term, in the short term, and why this interest for outside the US?
Yeah, so I often go back and forth about whether I want to be in the United States or if I want to be somewhere in the Middle East. I'd prefer, if I were, to probably be in North Africa. Egypt is really interesting to me. Somewhere along the Mediterranean, of course, would be nice. So, but I often go back and forth about whether I want to be in the United States or abroad. And so I'm also very curious kind of about your perspective. Why did you decide to make that leap and go to Senegal? Why Senegal, but also why abroad? And what were you nervous about? What were kind of the hesitancies you might have had?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm a telecom engineer, so I like to plan a lot. But many important things in my life that happened were not forecast a few months before. So I think to answer your question, I went to Africa more as an opportunistic opportunity. I also started in the corporate world. I think there are very different dynamics in these markets compared to what you might have experienced here in the United States or Western Europe. So it's good to go with a large company at the beginning, or with a development bank like IFC or the African Development Bank or the World Bank, even maybe management consulting, which is also a very good way always to start understanding the business and the local markets. And after, if you like corporate life, you can go up the ladder in big companies, and they are expanding fast in Africa and the Middle East as well. Or you can start to set up your business if you like that. So that would be the advice. Start with already established companies to understand, because they are very different from your what you know. And then when you know the country, you know the people, then you can start up your business if you like entrepreneurship.
And is that why you chose Senegal? Is that where you had most of your kind of expertise, or?
Well, yes. In fact, my wife is Lebanese and from Senegal, so she already knew the country. Otherwise, I think I would never have set up my business in Senegal like that right away. I was already also in the same market than the company I set up in Africa. I was buying outsourcing services from companies, so I was more on the buy side than the sell side. But so I knew also that market and that type of services. I also know the telecom, because information science is everywhere, and computer science is everywhere. So as a telecom engineer, I knew how to set up my IT systems in Senegal to be able to reach France and to provide the services. So that was a mix of planning, business plan, but a lot of opportunistic drivers in my decision to set up there.
Thank you. So as far as kind of the future of Africa, you talked a little bit about some of the things you're excited about. There's also a lot of risks when you go abroad. What do you think are some of the biggest risks Africa as a continent face, or maybe even specifically Senegal face in the future?
Yes, Africa is very diverse. It's 54 countries. As you mentioned, you have the North African Arabic countries, you have Western Africa, you have Eastern Africa, South Africa, and there is a big differences between these countries. If you are interested in working in headquarters, I would recommend Cairo or Dubai or Johannesburg. On the financial side, Mauritius is certainly a place to be. This is the four main cities for headquarters or financial hubs. If you are French speaking, obviously Ivory Coast is an exciting place to be. Senegal is an exciting place. Cameroon also, and République démocratique du Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. If you are more English speaking, Ghana is a great country. Nigeria is very big. It's tough, but it's very big. And obviously countries like Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa will be the main big. If you are Portuguese speaking, Angola is also a very good country to be in. So you have to pick up the right countries, and I will really stick to these 10 or 12 countries I just mentioned, because the other ones are, still Rwanda. For Rwanda is also an interesting country, but you have to pick up the countries where the political stability, is established for the next coming years. So that's maybe the risk, the political risk. After, I didn't find a big difference in doing business in Africa compared to Western Europe. That's maybe a surprising fact, but it was very easy for me to set up my company in Senegal. I had no hurdles. I just, I could set up my company in 5 days and start business, especially in the French-speaking countries. The law, the accounting is the same than France. So it was, I believe, for Anglo-Saxon countries or English-speaking countries like Ghana, Nigeria, there is not a big gap between in terms of setting up business. That's it. After you have to like to solve problems. It's high growth, high profitability, so you can make a lot of money, but you have to like to solve problems. As you have to establish and to invent everything. This is what also I like. It's everything. There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of freedom, but you have to really take responsibility and do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we will leave it here, because opportunistic and at the same planning, at the same time, I would advise for you who are starting your career, let yourself go a little bit. Opportunities will come from unexpected places, and also the universality of business. So you are saying business is not that different from doing business. So we are equal and a little bit different as well. So thank you very much, Nicolas Bernardi. Looking forward to hearing you in the class. And thank you so much, Joseph, also for your insights. And best of luck in your career that is going to start soon and may take you again, like the case of Nicolas, to unexpected places. Thank you.